And welcome to the mat, to our practice today. Prepared? Not quite. Myself. I will grab a strap from the cupboard. We won't need it that much. And if you don't have anything that resembles it, don't worry about it. But if you do, please put a strap to the side of the mat. A block will be needed today, and the blanket generally here for good comfort. So once you've got all of these things lying around you, we'll come down onto the backs. So get yourself comfortable there. Have a block within your reach already before you get too comfortable. And as you lie down, as usual, you could close the eyes or choose to set your gaze towards the ceiling. Well, I would love to tap today into the energies of Shiva, with that into the energies of the 5 elements. So while you're comfortable, just resting, perhaps eyes closed, maybe cushioned up as well. When we think about Shiva, the 5 elements, we're thinking about also a connection to the divine, to the universe, and to that part of it within ourselves. With the 5 elements, you might be here to experience the earth, the ground that sits underneath you. You might think about the element of water. The flow of water within yourselves, such as the bodily fluids of blood, lymph. You might consider the element of air, the breath flowing through the nostrils into the lungs. You might think of actions that you perform throughout your day, or even just to get yourself here. More of the fiery element. And lastly, you are surrounded by and you're holding within space. Element of ether. Now bringing awareness to Shiva, holding these elements within, even the mantra, the name, Om Namah Shivaya. We're hoping to find balance within these elements and perhaps a deeper access to our connection with the universe. To get closer to that connection, it is about becoming more aware. Bhagavad Gita, the yogic framework, explains it in the different aspects of our being and mind. There's the Atman, the self or the soul. Buddhi, the intellect, the higher mind. Manas, the mind itself and the lower mind. Ahankara, the ego or the separate self-identification. And then Chitta, the individual human consciousness, which is then the sum or product of all the previous aspects. So perhaps more aware of these different aspects of yourself. The 5 elements we aim to keep in balance. You might start with the focus on the element of air and that of space that surrounds. As you begin to deepen your breath, and your next exhale, you might like to count that long, slow exhalation. Before you breathe in for half that count. Back out for the exhalation count. And in for half its length. Perhaps keeping your breath flowing like this. Exhalation, double the length to the inhalation. If that becomes comfortable for you at some stage, you could choose to play with lengthening the exhalation a little bit more. Please stay within a certain comfort so that there's no strain or stress upon this breath. Maybe you now reached a sense of comfort within this breathing practice of breath ratio. And after your next exhalation, letting it go. You might keep a slightly deeper breath flowing though. And perhaps there's an awareness arising that while you've been working with the element of air, the breath, the space within and around, this might have impacted other parts of you too. Your vitality, your sense of groundedness, perhaps. See what else arises. If you have used a cushioning underneath you, other than a thin under the head, remove. And perhaps step the feet onto the ground. Landing arms along the sides of the body, the palms touching the floor. Feet hip distance, toes looking forward. A breath in to tilt the pelvis and to lightly lift it off the floor. An out breath to gently release it back onto the mat. We'll repeat the in-breath to tilt the pelvis, maybe lightly lifting it off the ground, and the out-breath to lower back down. Please continue in that fashion. Tilt first, then lift, and gently roll back down. As you repeat that pattern of movement, you might increase the range of movement. Perhaps lifting your hips much further. Next time your hips are up in the air, grab a block. Place it flat underneath the sacrum. Please make sure that the moving parts of the spine are free. And arms back along the sides of the body. When a subtle back bend here, I hope this is comfortable for everyone. Some might feel like a deeper extension. It is possible to bring the block up halfway. Now take a breath in, raise your right arm, and bring it down behind the head onto the floor. You might stretch up into the fingertips of that hand. And an option to turn the head away from the arm. Head back to center. Arm back by the side. Left arm might lift, breath in. Arm might drop behind the head to the floor, breath out. Perhaps turning the head away from the arm while stretching up into the fingertips of the left hand. Head centers again, arm rises up and roots back down by the side of the body. Let's repeat, right arm lifting, breath in, out, perhaps behind the head to the floor. You might stay here or even extend your right leg out long. If you do, point the toes and at the same time stretch up to the fingertips of the right hand. You might turn your head back away from the arm. Centering the head, step the right foot back down, lift the arm and lower it by the side. Left arm lifting, perhaps behind the head onto the floor. Maybe the left leg lengthens out. Same here, point out actively through the toes if you extended the leg, and also reach up into the fingertips of the left hand. Then perhaps turn the head away from that arm. Bringing the head to the center, the left foot back to the ground, before raising the arm up and lowering it back down by the sides. Allow just to be, take a couple of breaths. Noticing the degree of your back bend that you have chosen. If your block is currently flat, you could choose to keep it there. Bring it halfway up for a hold. Or you could come with me and raise the hips all the way up of the block and then remove it and place it back out towards the side somewhere. So you can choose to stay with the supported bridge, the block underneath at the height that feels right for you. But for all, we've got the knees and the feet at hip distance. And if your hips are up in the air, start to draw the tailbone up towards the backs of the knees. You may now walk your shoulders under if that is for you, and perhaps interlace the hands behind the back and lengthen your arms down onto the mat. Gaze here stays up towards the ceiling. The tail reaches towards the backs of the knees, unless you have chosen to remain supported. Those of you unsupported, release the interlace, place the arms back down. Those of you supported, lift the hips up, withdraw the block, and then very slowly rolling the spine down onto the floor. Let your feet wiggle a bit further apart and the knees fall in. Take a pause, or your arms might gently roll out so the shoulders can soften. Being aware of the physical body, its sensations, but also aware of your feelings, your mind. Then let the knees lightly separate and come into a subtle swing of the knees from side to side. You could add a turning of the head if your neck allows. Then come back to the center. Let your feet come that tad bit closer before lifting them off the floor and bringing the knees loosely over the chest. Placing one hand upon each kneecap, the fingers are looking towards the toes. Breathe out and squeeze your knees in towards you. Keep your elbows nice and snug by the side. On the inhale, extend your arms forward so the knees are moving over the hips. And with the out breath, bring the knees back in towards your elbows close. So inhaling, extending arms, knees moving away. Exhaling, hugging the knees in. So while you keep doing this, you might notice the actual rocking movement here through the pelvis, which is what we're after. Perhaps even a subtle stretch across the lower back. You could point the feet while you breathe in, flex them as you breathe out. Adding a bit of a lymphatic movement to this gentle rocking. And you might change now the movement of your feet. As you could on the in-breath, flex the feet, extend the legs to the ceiling, arms up or even over the head. Then with the out-breath, pointing the feet, hands back to the kneecaps, elbows by your sides, drawing knees in towards the chest. So the inhale to extend soles to the ceiling, arms. And on the out-breath, keep your elbows nice and close and draw the knees up towards your chest. We'll keep that flowing in the variation that you most enjoy for a few more breaths. Last round. You might now deeply embrace your knees, squeeze them in a bit more tightly, and perhaps rock side to side. If you enjoy that gentle massage, you could stay with it and roll over to the side eventually. If you like a more vigorous, fiery movement, you could start rocking the body forwards and backwards, and eventually also coming to a seated position. As usual, you sit the way you need to sit. If it is comfortable for you, you could sit with your bottom towards the heels, or like I will do, on a halfway up block behind me. Easy pose might be comfortable as well, so could an extension of the legs forward. Get your spine to come upright. And then tap your fingertips lightly towards your shoulders. On the in-breath, draw the elbows back, lift the sternum, lift your gaze and chin. On the exhale, draw the elbows closer together, round the spine, sink in, chin to the chest. Inhaling, open the elbows, lift your heart, gaze. Out, breath to round in. So it's a bit like a seated cat and cow, but we've got perhaps a bit more range of movement here in the shoulders. As you squeeze the shoulder blades when you're looking up on the in-breath, and then open them as you breathe out and round, and perhaps lean into the back. So the inhale is to open, side back bend. The out-breath is to round, but rather than rounding forward, you might actually sink deeply into the back, extending the back line further. So in-breath to open, and out-breath to round. You might stay with that for another 3 breaths. Take it at your pace, deep, long breathing. When you complete it, release the fingertips from the shoulders. Curl yourself upright. Lift the shoulders and give them a subtle shrug down. You might drop your right hand fingertips to the floor and take a deep breath to reach the left arm up, and you might follow that with the gaze. So stretching up to the fingertips, and then perhaps landing down on the fingertips of the right hand and the side bend. You could keep your gaze forward, lower it, and take it to the upper arm. Keep the top shoulder back. And perhaps the palm of the hand looking down towards the floor. Then let your upper arm roll forward and down, and place the back of the hand against the outside of the opposite leg or knee. Lift yourself that little bit taller, and perhaps the other hand can touch down to the floor or right behind your back. And use the hand against the opposite leg for a light twist. Turning your head forward and gently releasing, letting arms drop along the sides. As most of you are aware, one of my arms doesn't like to move like the other, so your choice to move even more. As you breathe in, reaching your right arm up towards the ceiling, perhaps lift the gaze here as well, stretch up towards the fingertips. Then land the other hand fingertips to the floor lightly and start your side bend. Top shoulder is back. Palm of the hand might be facing downwards. Your gaze up to you, wherever your neck feels best. Then roll your upper arm and shoulder in. Place the back of that hand to the outside of the opposite leg. Lift back up through the spine, and either the fingertips of this hand slide behind or your arm gently wraps behind. And use the back of the hand against the leg and lightly twist. On the inhale, now the head turns forward. On the exhale, release the shape. Now, depending on how you're seated, this might look different. If you're like me, bring the hands down, lift your hips up. You might all remove any props from underneath, perhaps tucking the toes under and then raising the knees off the ground, landing in a standing forward bend. And you might hang out there, literally, knees bend quite a lot, finding some softness, and yet perhaps a light extension into the back of the body. If you enjoy a gentle swaying movement, you might sway. As you come back towards the center, be heavy. Start to lift up your pelvic floor or mula bandha and start to engage on an hourglass to roll up through the spine. You could choose to just lift the head or even your arms as you breathe in to extend fully. For the hourglass, touch the palms of your hands, bend the knees lightly, and start to fold back forward and down. Fingertips may support on the leg as you straighten your back forward, inhalation. Exhalation, step the right foot down the mat. Need cushioning, bring that underneath the knee as you lower the knee to the floor. You may also have blocks or one underneath your hands, and an option to lean the hips slightly forward. Please keep your front knee stuck over the ankle joint and your spine long, including your neck. A kneeling lunge. You might then land the hands down, step the second knee back, and find a kneeling plank position. For the hourglass, keep your elbows close and lower down onto the front of your body. Touch the tops of the feet into the floor. Breathe in, lift your head and chest. Keep elbows close here too, shoulders down, gaze lightly forward, knees might be off the ground. If your lower back's very sore, lift the feet as well. Then let's release our butts to the mat. Inhale, push it up to all fours. As always, you're very welcome to stay in an all four stance, or you may keep toes tucked under and lift your hips up for a downward facing dog. Choice. On the next inhale, let the right leg extend. On the out, draw the knee in and maybe help or land the foot forward. Back knee comes back down to the floor or onto a cushioning, perhaps leaning the hips forward. Same here, front knee rests over your ankle, spine is long, including the neck. Backside toes might tuck under again, lifting the knee off the floor. Take a step forward, Uttanasana, standing forward bend. A half lift for the inhalation, and out as to fold back down. Wait here. When the exhale comes, lift back up from below and curl up through the spine. Shoulders shrug or the whole arms lifting as you breathe in. Arms back down by the sides as you breathe out. Let's lift again, inhaling. Hands to touch, press out to fold forward. Inhaling, half lift. Stepping the left foot back into a lunge. Now you could repeat what we've done before or keep the knee off the floor. The same here, spine is long. Knee over ankle. Choice now, a kneeling or a full plank position. Exhaling, lower onto the mat. You may choose to come back to the cobra or push the whole body off the floor as you breathe in. If you're the whole body off the mat, you might roll straight to down dog, otherwise lower down on the outward. Inhaling all fours, same choice, you may stay or draw the toes under and come back to downward dog. Perhaps pause for a moment. Find length in your spine. If you're in a down dog, keep a subtle bend in the knees to facilitate. Then an inhale to lift the left leg up. On the out breath, bring the foot forward or help it there. Back knee may be off the floor this time, as we lengthen the spine for all. Stepping forward to standing forward there. And in breath for a half lift. Exhale, fold. Breathe in. And out breath to uncurl. Again, shoulder shrug is welcome, or extending the arms. And releasing them by the sides. Take a couple of breaths, just standing, looking steady. And then let's turn us towards the long side end of the mat. The feet might be about 1 meter apart. Beginning with the right toes turning to the shoulder edge. The left heel slightly to the other. You may rest the left hand into the waist or extend both arms out long to shoulder height. Start pushing down into the ball of your front foot and slowly extend into Trikonasana or the triangle. Keep pushing down into the ball of the front foot so your knee is safe. And use the back of your hand against the leg against the hand to open your chest. Whether the hand is in your side or arms extended. Keep your breath flowing. Keep that lift up from the floor. And those of you breathing smoothly might even extend their upper arm over the head. The palm here stays facing down and the shoulder stays in place by using the lower hand against the leg. Utthita Trikonasana, the extended version. Now bend both knees, let your upper arm roll in and gently turn back to the center even with your feet. Allow a few movements. And we'll turn our triangle to the other side. So now the left side toes turn to the short edge. The right heel ever so slightly to the back. Same here, you might slide the right hand into the side of the waist or choose to extend both arms out long. Breath in as you push down into the ball of your left foot. Then tilt towards the triangle. If you keep that pressure down, your front knee will be perfectly aligned and engaged. And you could start that pressure of the back of the hand into the leg into the hand to help you open through the upper body. Mind your gazing point, looking up, down, engaging into the neck. Keep that length in the lower side of the waist rather than sinking down, trying to relax, stay active. Using a bit of fire within you. And if you like a little bit more fire, take your upper arm over the head. Same here, the shoulder stays in place, only the arm position changes. And you might turn the palm of the hand to look downwards. your extended triangle. These are only options. Mindful here, the breast might come out of alignment, and perhaps the hand is better up or in your side. A breath in to soften the knees, roll it in, turn back to the center of the mat, and wiggle your feet a bit closer to hip distance. Now, if you like to prefer to look at the screen, you might change your position and face back to the short front side end of the mat. If you like a block to use, you might have that sitting somewhere by your side. It may or may not come in handy. Who knows? Better be prepared. So place the hands upon the hips when you're ready. Lengthen through the spine, leave shoulders down. And then facing here with the hips forward is what we like to maintain as you step the right foot back, keeping the hip distance stance. And there's a deep angle in the back foot, the toes diagonally looking forward. The pelvis still is looking forward, especially if you lightly bend the front knee, place that over your ankle joint. This is a warrior one stance, and you might draw your feet a little bit inwards to make it stronger. So we're using activity here, because you could now place the right hand underneath the navel, the palm looking upwards, and the fist with the left hand on top, the thumb looking upwards. Now you might place a bit of pressure between the palm of the hand and the fist. Hold that light inward draw of your feet, the palm and the fist. Find steadiness in your gaze. This is Shiva Linga Mudra. We're encouraged not only balance in our elements by addressing Shiva, but also perhaps a deeper connection. You may release this mudra now, perhaps even extend both of your arms upwards as you breathe in. Out to keep your shoulders at ease. In to straighten the front leg. Out to release your left hand into the side of the waist. The right arm comes slowly down as you begin to lean halfway forward. Now you might also use a block here underneath the shoulder, or you could take the back of your right hand to the outside of the leg. Please be mindful that you stay pressing down into the ball of your front foot. Spine here is long, pelvis is balanced. And when your next out breath comes, could you roll your right shoulder back, keeping your foundation in the same way. As your gaze might turn out towards a revolved triangle, there's the extra option of extending the left arm toward the ceiling. Mindful that arm could be that last bit that drags you back down. So the twist here might be more of your attention than the actual completion with an arm lift. Focusing more on the benefits than external expression. Now let's soften back down, release, bend the front knee, curl the spine up, let your arms become easy and step your feet back together. Perhaps there's a mountain pose available here where you're standing tall, your inner heels lightly active toward each other, your gaze steady or your eyes closed. Take a note of your breathing. Perhaps that sits a little bit higher or got out of control, and allow a few deeper breaths. Let's blink the eyes back open, release the hands onto the hips. Feel again your pelvis is perfectly looking forward, and let's keep it that way while still stepping the left foot back. Land it in an angle. So the toes again diagonally looking forward. Then bend into your front knee, and the pelvis might again with ease look forward. If your pelvis looks out to the side, keep it like this, but adjust your stance and to turn the hips forward that way. Now let's draw the feet in toward each other, finding more balance, more strength. And the left hand might rest underneath the navel, palm looking up. And you could make a fist with the right hand, the thumb looking up, and place that into the palm of the hand. Now again, draw the palm up to the fist down into the hand, while maintaining that light pull of the feet inwards. Find steadiness in your gaze and hold while breathing. Encouraging your mind to stay very present with that connection to the higher mind, the universe itself. While holding your legs engaged, then take a breath in, both arms might lift upward. The shoulders might ease as you breathe out. The in-breath to lengthen the front leg. The out-breath to place the right hand into the side of the waist. Then lower the arm as you breathe in, maybe to the outside of the leg as you lengthen your spine halfway forward. First, press back down into the ball of the front foot. Feel the spine lengthening as you place resistance into the leg into the hand. And you might then, on your next out breath, roll your right shoulder back. The same option here, you might extend the right arm towards the ceiling, but only if that allows you to remain within the twist, the strong stance in the legs, with that your pelvis being balanced. So getting most benefit out of stability and twist in the spine. Then breathe in, let your arms release, the legs soften as you curl up and take a step forward, landing back on both feet, reclaiming a mountain posture. You might close the eyes or lower your gaze and notice the changes and sensations in the body, but also in the breath, and see if you can lower your breath back down towards movement in your abdomen. Please feel free for the next posture to place fingertips on a piece of furniture or the wall if you like. Bending your right knee. Bringing knees to touch. An option to take a hold of the foot, not essential. Bringing knees back to touch. Finding tall stance. Next option, touching index and thumb together on the opposite hand, raising it up. Keep your gaze forward and perhaps lift the knee up behind or bring the foot into the hand. Your heart here will be reaching forward while the hips are staying looking downwards. Perhaps there's a little back bend here within this balance. As this is Natarajasana or the dancer, you might as well dance. Release the foot, release the arm, take a deep breath. Maybe exhale from the mouth. Left knee bends. Touch them, either stay or reach for the foot. Bring knees back together, even if you're holding on somewhere. Option to touch index and thumb. Lift the arm. Keep gaze forward, and again begin foot into the hand or knee up behind you. Start to expand the body. Dance away joyfully if that is your approach to the balance today. And then landing both feet back down. Deep breath in. Full exhale. Then bend the knees, and on an out breath, tuck the chin in and slowly roll down to the mat. Bringing knees down to the floor and perhaps a good cushioning seated support. Folded blanket, rolled up end of the mat. Extending your legs forward. And if you do have, we use a strap today, placing that around the balls of the feet. As I said, you can practice this familiar posture without the strap. I just thought I'd bring a different aspect to it by using it today. If it's possible and long enough, roll your hands once into the strap for an easier grip. The straps around the balls of the feet. You will have a good flexion in the feet. Now, some of you might find that challenging and your back might be rounding. Please bend the knees in that case. Doesn't take away anything from the shape. So keep a pull on the strap, your shoulders down, your elbows by the sides, and sit up tall. Perhaps have your gazing point to your toes. Keep a slightly deeper pull on the next exhale, but your spine long. Just moving a little bit forward from the hips. So my encouragement here is to keep the spine long today as you breathe out to draw yourself a bit further forward. This might be it for you, so stay with whatever is available for you. Keep your elbows close and the spine long. My knees are bent here, protecting my lower back, and you could keep the knees bent as well, but some might have the availability to lengthen the legs out while the spine is still long. So take it to the extent that feels right by keeping your back long and your shoulders relaxed in their sockets. Now, if you're very much folded forward, lift yourself about halfway as you breathe in. Then release the strap from the right hand. Extend the right arm and take a hold of both ends with the right hand before releasing it with the left hand. Now, if you're using the strap, your feet will naturally stay balanced. If you aren't, hand goes to the side of the leg and watch your feet being parallel. Well, we take a breath in to open out into a twist so that the left arm is extending backwards. You might reach into its fingertips while both arms are long. You might sit up that little bit taller here. Keep the pelvis in balance, sitting bones grounded. A deep breath in. And a breath out to take the arm from behind, to take a hold of both ends of the strap. Lengthen your spine before you move. Find that balance again in the body. Then an inhale to reach your left arm back. Extend right out towards the fingertips. Keep the arm lifted if that's available to you. Both arms long. And mind just in awareness. How far up are you sitting? Is the spine extended? And can you hold here and breathe? An inhale and an exhale to bring the arm forward. Now release the strap from your feet. You might place the strap out towards the side, somewhere out of your way, perhaps even wiggling off the blanket or rolled up mat, aligning that potentially as a cushioning, and keep a block down by your side as you begin to lower your back again onto the mat. Feet might be landing down, and gather everything around you you will need in a moment for relaxation. But before we relax completely, I'd ask you to lift the hips enough to place a block underneath the sacrum again, flat or halfway up perhaps. You may keep a hold of the block as you lift your knees up over the chest. If the block feels stable, extend the legs softly towards the ceiling, and perhaps even let go of the block by relaxing your arms out and away. Let the palms of the hands look upwards. And you might take a moment to increase the flow of bodily fluid, the water element, and moving through toes, feet, ankles. Do so slowly. And after a while, just stop movement altogether. Allow heaviness down into the earth. The flow of water downwards. Letting go of all the activity, yet you might still feel there's a certain warmth, a tapping into the fire element within you from all of the movements and standing strengths. Eventually, you might come to the breath, the air flowing. All this space that you might have created within yourself. Space which you're taking up within this inversion. And perhaps also a bit of space in your mind. You might now soften the knees back towards the chest. Please feel free to hold onto the block. Lowering one foot down after the other. Gentle hip distance stance. Then lift your hips enough to take the block out from underneath and lower back down onto the mat. Take a pause. You might choose to open the arms once more and could let your knees roll over towards the right-hand side. Whether your knees are quite close down to the lower end of the mat or quite up towards your chest is a choice. Opposite shoulder ideally is grounded, and you might turn the head. Let's center the head, then the knees. Perhaps the body needs adjustment, and approaching the knees to the left next. Same here. Doesn't have to be the same as on the other side, but perhaps your knees are higher up or lower down the mat. keeping the shoulder grounded, and again the option of turning the head. Center the head, center the knees, shuffle yourself in the most comfortable place on your back, and then prop yourself up for relaxation. As usual, your relaxation can be with the legs supported over a bolster, the knees bent, or the legs long onto the mat. If you choose the knees bent, have your feet wide, the knees dropping in so they hold onto each other. Closing eyes or steadying the gaze towards the ceiling. But you might find a bit of stillness now within yourself, having moved in all directions. In the end, to reach deeper awareness and connection, to overcome the sway of the ego, we need to be committed and vigilant. For the ego is clever. It uses every trick in the book to gain and retain control of the mind. It uses desire to misdirect us towards one thing after the other that can never truly satisfy us and provide the peace we seek. The only thing that can ever truly satisfy us and fill the void within is moving beyond the separate egoic self and becoming ever more aligned with our higher mind and soul. This is the integration of the lower self with the true self. Total absorption in the bliss of union with the self, the one with all of existence. Perhaps to embark on this journey, firm commitment is an absolute necessity, allowing you then to overcome challenges, moving steadily toward awakening. You might choose to commit to this practice, even set the intention to regularly checking in, noticing which part of you is ruling your mind and life. Attentively observing patterns, habits, limiting beliefs, and anything else that drains your energy. You might allow a few conscious breaths to envision new ways of perceiving yourself, the world, and other beings that would support you in releasing patterns of conditioning. This awareness, intention, or commitment, more integrated perhaps. Your breath might be flowing more freely. Maybe there's a sense of clarity arising. Might install an intention like, I bring awareness to my thoughts, my actions. To steadily move forward. If you found an intention such as that, repeat it 3 times silently to yourself. And let go of thoughts, breath control, body. Being there right now. As you then start deepening your breath and bring awareness back to body, all the elements that are included within. You might add then some movement or stretching. When you feel ready and equipped, change your position and join me seated. So you could even choose to place the palms of the hands together in front of your chest. Thumbs might lightly touch the sternum. Your eye gaze low, or even a gentle bow towards that heart space. With deep awareness, we then extend and bow to acknowledge each other. Namaste.